At first, I thought they were playing because that's what it started off was. This is the whole gimmick. Everything is a ploy to lead to something else. That's why they tell you don't let anybody touch you in jail. And he didn't know this. He didn't understand that you're not supposed to wrestle with somebody in the cell because this is what they're doing. They're trying to see if they can get you in a vulnerable position, and that's it right there. I'm on my bunk and I'm listening to it and I'm thinking, damn, ain't somebody gonna come help this dude? I mean, and they didn't. That night in the cell, they raped him.
According to the Department of Justice, nearly 1 in 10 prisoners suffer sexual abuse while in American jails and prisons. A quarter of those also reported serious injury like chipped or lost teeth, being knocked unconscious, broken bones, or worse. So let's keep that in mind the next time a talk show host, a government official, or anybody makes a joke about prison rape. The fact that we find these jokes acceptable shows just how far we've gone in normalizing rape as a just punishment for any offense. As long as we keep imagining that people in prison are subhuman, that they're predatory and incorrigible and nothing like you and me, why would we lose any sleep about what their lives are like or what's happening to them?
There are now over 5,000 jails and prisons in the United States, more than we have colleges and universities. In many parts of America, particularly the South, there are more people living in prisons than on college campuses, and a multi-billion-dollar business has emerged.
Brace yourself. This is going to sound too barbaric to be real. Like medieval times, a science fiction horror film, or a French historical musical. The 13th Amendment of the Constitution outlawed slavery, but it still allows for forced labor if you're in prison. Today, there are roughly 1 million American prisoners working for corporations and government industries. There is no minimum wage, so you could make as little as a few cents an hour. Bruce worked in the kitchen for years, then in clerical jobs, making a maximum of 32 cents an hour. It sounds like another time, or a Coen Brothers movie, but it's happening right now. There are no benefits, no organizing, and no strikes. And if you refuse to work, you can get put in the hole. This is big business for state and for-profit prisons who sell inmate labor to Fortune 500s like Chevron, Bank of America, AT&T, and the U.S. military. Nearly half the population in prison make military uniforms, body armor, helmets, and provide labor as subcontractors for Fortune 500s. They make office furniture, man call centers, take hotel reservations, work in slaughterhouses, or manufacture textiles, shoes, and clothing. Prison labor is part of why some state and private prisons yield a multi-billion-dollar profit.
Glasses.
Not only are prisoners used to make products, prisoners themselves are sold as products. Since the 1980s, the prison population has boomed. Now, 150 private prisons are paid billions by state governments to house prisoners.
Private prisons do so well, some of their biggest investors are
They just
banks,
open a private
like
prison right down the street.
Bank of America. Many private prisons demand 90 or even 100% occupancy, meaning the taxpayer foots the bill for every bed, even the fucking empty ones.
For-profit prisons are incentivized to incarcerate more people and for longer periods of time to fill their quotas. And to make sure that happens, they spend millions pushing tough on crime bills. Today, nearly 10% of America's prisoners are held in private prisons.
And they also spend millions influencing immigration law. Half of detained immigrants are held in private prisons for indefinite periods of time, often years, exposed to brutal conditions. And because they're not Americans, the government gives them no right to even the most basic legal representation or medical care.
The prisons are private companies. Why would they want to decrease violence? Okay? Why would they want to improve the quality of life of these people? and then we call it justice. Okay, it's blood money, it's bad karma. It's going to come back and haunt us to the point of extinction.
3 housing facilities were set on fire. It apparently all started over inmate frustration over the quality of medical care.
Perhaps needless to say, being treated like chattel and used as forced labor for pennies an hour is not that popular on the inside. But that's not the worst of it.
The socks they issue you are used. The underwear they issue you is used. You got to buy things like shaving equipment and food and sweats and socks, underwear, t-shirts.
The canteen or commissary is more expensive than any convenience store on the outside.
It's definitely advisable to have money so that you can get started. If you don't have $50 to $100 coming into your books or your account every month, then you're going to need a hustle.
This is Philip. He was convicted of robbery.
As crooked as we are out here, we're as crooked inside there too. Whether it's drugs, whether it's alcohol. You got people that they don't drink, but they manufacture Pruno all day.
Is TransUnion, Experian, and what else?
They found a still.
Friends that I knew had actually gotten so far as to like get the copper tubing from Industries over. So we had copper tubing.
They were making moonshine in St. Quentin.
Mainly they drank it.
Did I have a hustle? Sold drugs through our visits, through a correctional officer.
Prison is like a networking college for criminals. The majority of the guys in prison are there trying to learn how to do crime better.
Yeah, this is just kind of a school for criminals to learn more, be criminals.
And that's not an exaggeration.
A 2011 study from Ohio University showed that after spending time in prison, those continuing to engage in crime see their criminal earnings increase on an average by $11,000 a year.
Jody Lewin is the executive director of the Prison University Project.
There are thousands and thousands of people in the system. All they want is the opportunity to get a good education and to be hired by somebody where they can have a job where they have meaningful work and a livable wage. In the late 80s, early 90s, there were probably 350 programs in the prison system nationwide.
I took my dad's advice. Been saying for a long time, look for some computer training. Is there any computer training in there? Because he knows, you know. So I finally, when I got to San Quentin, I said, do you have any computer training? So it was great. Because, I mean, those who know the least obey the best, you know, and there's this rebellious kind of a spirit in there. They have you under their thumb up into the point of being able to put a bullet in your head if they wanted to.
Stand still and be quiet, face that wall right now.
So there's this rebelliousness, you know, well, I could exercise my brain. They can't stop me from doing that. And so we really got this pride about our education, particularly in that computer programming class, and it was an honor to be able to fight the system, as you might say. By educating each other. And then seeing me graduate that 8 years later, my dad was really proud of me. And our relationship just blossomed, just became so deep and so meaningful. My dad was everything to me. And it was just about 2 weeks after I graduated that he died.
When I signed this crime bill, we together are taking a big step toward bringing the laws of our land back into line with the values of our people.
In 1994, Congress passed the Violent Crime Control and Law Enforcement Act, which, among many other things, barred people in prison from receiving Pell Grants. Most of those programs folded almost overnight.
To be realistic, I mean, unless you're getting a college education in here, it's probably not going to help you too much. But if they have skills such as welding on this yard is just phenomenal. We've seen guys go through the welding program and they're making $30, $40 an hour out there on the streets, and they're writing letters back to the instructor over here. And those are the things that these guys need, any job, so they won't be robbing, stealing, turning to the dope, you know, doing the drugs and that type of thing. So that's what I would change.
Critical reason number one why people are ending up in prison is for lack of really quality educational opportunity.
Since 1970, in the state of California, we've built 22 prisons and 1 university. We literally have more faith in punishing people